You appear confident, unbothered, and fully at peace with yourself in a way that feels almost effortless. It's as though you've stepped into a version of you that was always meant to exist, steady, calm, self-assured, and radiating a strength that doesn't need to be announced. People notice this shift even if they pretend they don't. In fact, more people are watching you now than you realize, observing the way you move, the way you carry yourself, and the way you've evolved. They no longer see you as the person you once were. They see someone who has risen above past circumstances with grace and determination. Some admire you in silence, some feel inspired, and others simply cannot believe how far you've come. Yet very few will ever admit it, because acknowledging your growth would require them to confront the ways they stayed the same. Among those quietly watching is someone from your past, your person, who now carries a weight of regret heavier than they expected. They think back to moments where they could have acted differently, spoken sooner, or shown up in ways they now understand they should have. They replay conversations, missed opportunities, and choices that pushed you farther away. They wish they could turn back time, not just to undo mistakes, but to appreciate you the way you deserved back then. But life does not move backward, and you've long since learned that dwelling on what was can hold you back from what could be. You are not looking over your shoulder anymore. You're stepping into better places, healthier environments, and a more aligned version of your life. Your path forward is clearer now, and it's illuminated by everything you've healed, endured, and overcome. What they didn't realize, what many people didn't realize, is that the universe has always been watching you, gently guiding you even in moments where you felt alone. Your resilience hasn't gone unnoticed. In the higher realms, there is a sense of applause, a recognition of your strength and your commitment to choosing yourself even when it was difficult. Every time you walked away from something that drained you, every time you set a boundary that protected your peace, every time you refused to shrink yourself for someone else's comfort, you were aligning more deeply with your divine path. That alignment shows. It glows around you, and people feel it even before they can explain it. You once tried to communicate your feelings clearly, openly, and honestly. You expressed your emotions and your needs, trusting that your person would understand the sincerity behind your words. But they were slow to respond, caught in their hesitation, their uncertainty, or perhaps their own emotional limitations. When someone takes too long to meet you where you are, life has a way of encouraging you to take a step back. And that is exactly what you did. Instead of waiting for clarity that never came, you decided to reclaim your power. You shifted your focus inward, pouring energy into your growth, your self-worth, and your future. You reinvested in yourself, not out of bitterness, but out of a deep understanding that your time and heart are valuable. Now the shift is undeniable. Your person thinks about you constantly, far more than they expected to. They feel the distance between you like an ache that never fully goes away. It's tiring for them, draining even, to hold so many unspoken thoughts and unresolved emotions. They want to connect, to reach out, to fix what they allowed to break, but they also feel defeated because they sense you're no longer in the same emotional place. They can feel that you're stronger now, more grounded, more certain of your worth. And while that strength is admirable, it also intimidates them. In moments of reflection, they realize that your boundaries, once something they may not have fully understood, are now the very thing proving your loyalty and trustworthiness. By protecting your peace, you've shown them the depth of your integrity. To them, you have become the ideal woman, someone who knows her value, who stands firm in her truth, and who doesn't compromise herself to be chosen. This realization comes with a mixture of admiration and longing. They see now what they didn't fully appreciate before. But whether that recognition comes too late is something only time, and your heart, can determine. What remains certain is this: you have transformed. Your journey, your healing, and your commitment to yourself have brought you to a place of inner power that cannot be shaken. You are moving forward, not backward. And while your past may still watch you, admire you, or long for you, you are stepping boldly into a future shaped by your strength, clarity, and unwavering self-love. I want to spend my nights with you, not just the bright, easy nights, but the quiet ones, the heavy ones, the ones where the world feels too loud or too silent. I want to share my sadness and my happiness with you, not because I feel obligated to, but because my heart naturally turns to you before anyone else. Every joy feels bigger when you're part of it, and every fear feels softer when I imagine your presence beside me. I want to share all my secrets with you, even the ones I never thought I would say out loud, because I trust you more deeply than I've ever trusted anyone in my life. Sometimes I imagine holding you close, feeling the warmth of your breath against my chest, and just telling you how much I love you without rushing, without hesitation. I don't think you truly know how incredibly graceful and gorgeous you are, not only on the outside, but in all the small things you do without realizing it. Your kindness, your softness, your strength, they blend together in a way that makes you simply extraordinary. You are kind in ways that linger, sweet in ways that stay with me long after our conversations end. I find myself wondering constantly, when will I see you again? When will I hear your voice again, or read your messages, or feel the comfort that comes from simply knowing you're close by? I miss you deeply, more than I can explain in a single sentence. These days, the loneliness hits me unexpectedly. I'll be doing something ordinary, and suddenly there you are, on my mind, leaving me with this ache that is half longing and half hope. I end up talking to myself about you, imagining conversations, replaying memories, or creating future ones in my head just to feel a little less far from you. It's strange how sometimes just the thought of you, your smile, your voice, your presence, can turn my entire day around. You don't have any idea what you make me feel like. You've awakened emotions in me that I didn't even know I was capable of feeling. I love you more than you will ever truly understand, more than words could ever reflect. You hold my heart in the gentlest yet strongest way possible, and I offer it willingly, without fear. When I am around you, I feel like a sweet little boy again, innocent, excited, full of energy I thought adulthood had taken away from me. You make me feel like a teenager, so young, so crazy, so alive. It's like you breathe youth into the parts of me that had grown tired, and suddenly I'm laughing, dreaming, imagining, and believing again. Being with you, or even just thinking of you, fills me with a sense of completeness that I've never experienced with anyone else. You are my super strong woman, someone who carries power and softness in perfect balance, someone who inspires me with the way she faces life. My feelings for you are steady, unshakable, and deeper than you might realize. They don't change with time or distance, in fact, they grow. They grow in the silence, in the waiting, in the longing, in the small everyday moments when your absence makes me understand your value even more clearly. I don't want to let you go. I don't want you to forget me or walk away thinking you meant anything less than everything to me. Without you, I feel like a piece of me fades, like I lose direction in a world that already feels confusing. You have given my life a new direction, a renewed purpose, a meaning that feels genuine and powerful. You came into my life quietly, without warning, without any grand entrance, and yet you changed everything. You shifted the way I think, the way I feel, the way I dream. You taught me that love doesn't always arrive with certainty, it sometimes arrives gently, unexpectedly, but with a strength that transforms everything it touches. You made me realize how deeply a heart can care, how intensely someone can be missed, and how beautifully love can grow when it's rooted in trust, admiration, and pure affection. I want to build memories with you, slowly, patiently, meaningfully. I want to laugh with you until we forget why we started laughing. I want to sit quietly beside you and feel comfort in the silence. I want to talk about life, dreams, fears, and futures without ever feeling judged or misunderstood. I want to be your support, your peace, your home in moments when the world becomes too much. You don't just occupy space in my mind, you live there. You don't just touch my heart, you've shaped it. And every day, without even trying, you remind me of what it feels like to love sincerely and wholeheartedly. You are a gift I never expected, a blessing I often feel unworthy of, but one I cherish more than anything else. You've given my life direction, purpose, and inspiration, and no matter what happens, no matter where life takes us, my feelings for you will remain strong, loyal, and true. Your partner was never accustomed to the kind of love you offered, steady, genuine, and full of admiration. Before you came into their life, affection was something they experienced only in fragments, never in the wholehearted and consistent way you expressed it. Because of that, they carried an ingrained sense of doubt, a quiet suspicion that anything good must eventually fade. When you loved them with such sincerity, it triggered a mixture of wonder and fear inside them. They questioned whether your feelings were real, whether they could last a lifetime, or if everything they were experiencing was simply an intense attraction destined to dissolve with time. They couldn't believe they could be worthy of something so deep, so constant, and so true. Yet, in time, you proved every doubt wrong. You didn't waver, you didn't retreat, and you didn't love them halfway. You stayed anchored in your truth. You showed up consistently, emotionally open, willing to embrace your feelings without hesitation. You did this without pretending, without holding back, and without allowing fear to dilute the honesty of your heart. That alone left them stunned, because they had never met someone with such courage and love, someone who could feel deeply and still stand firmly in those feelings. Your authenticity made them feel seen in a way they didn't know they needed, and your boldness taught them that real love doesn't hide or shrink. It stands tall. In their eyes, you became one of the most admirable people they had ever encountered. Whether you are a woman or a man, your presence carried a rare strength, a kind of elegance that didn't need to demand attention because it naturally commanded respect. They were drawn not just to the way you loved them, but to the way you carried yourself, honest, unfiltered, grounded in your worth. To them, you became everything they had quietly wished for yet never believed they were allowed to have. You felt like a dream too perfect, too extraordinary, something meant for others but never for them. However, they also knew that loving someone like you required honesty, real, vulnerable, bare honesty. And they weren't fully ready for that. They were still tangled in their own uncertainties and unhealed wounds, still learning what it meant to choose with clarity rather than fear. A part of them believed they needed to become more certain, more stable, more capable, before they could be worthy of standing beside you. They convinced themselves that before they could claim you as theirs, they had to come clean about their feelings, align their actions with their intentions, and prove, to you and to themselves, that they could be consistent and trustworthy. Meanwhile, you stepped into your own power. You shifted out of the role of the pursuer and into the role of the self-possessed, self-assured person you were always meant to be. You embodied your goddess or god energy, not by turning cold, but by turning inward, choosing to honor yourself first. You stopped chasing. You stopped overgiving. You stopped trying to convince them of something they already felt but were too afraid to acknowledge. Instead, you lived in your truth with quiet confidence, letting your energy speak for itself. And it changed everything. Your partner, who once took comfort in your constant presence, suddenly felt the absence of your reassurance like a weight in their chest. They felt the shift in your energy, the way you no longer tried to validate them or pull them closer. It wasn't that you stopped caring, it was that you stopped trying to carry the connection alone. And without your effort fueling the bond, they found themselves confronted with their own fears, their own hesitation, and their own longing. Now they feel stuck, pulled, frustrated, torn between the comfort of their old patterns and the undeniable magnetism of the love they felt with you. They miss the way you made them feel, safe, adored, understood, and they miss the version of themselves that came alive in your presence. They find themselves thinking about you more than they expected, replaying moments, analyzing their own choices, wondering how they allowed fear to interfere with something so real. Your absence has become louder than your presence ever was. Every part of them feels the distance now, the gap created not by anger or punishment, but by your growth and self-respect. And ironically, it is that very self-respect, that goddess-like poise, that makes them crave you even more. They are shocked by how deeply they feel the loss, how incomplete they feel without the honesty and warmth you brought into their life. For the first time, they fully recognize what they had, what they doubted, and what they now fear losing for good. And while they might feel paralyzed and frustrated, this experience is also awakening something inside them, a desire to rise, to be better, to show up with the courage you always had. They know now that they can't have you, not truly, not fully, until they become certain, honest, and aligned with what they feel. They understand that love like yours cannot be taken lightly or held with hesitation. It demands sincerity, accountability, and the willingness to match your boldness with their own. And perhaps, in this moment of frustration and longing, they are finally beginning to understand what you knew all along, that real love isn't about chasing or convincing, it's about choosing each other with clarity, courage, and truth.